Most people think the problem is they don't have enough motivation. They think, if I just felt more driven, more inspired, more focused, I'd finally get my life together. But here's the truth. Motivation is not the problem. And chasing it might actually be the reason you keep starting over. Because motivation comes and goes. Some days you feel unstoppable. Other days, you can barely do the basics. So if your life depends on motivation, your life will always be inconsistent. And that raises a much better question. What if you could build a life that works, even when you don't feel like doing anything? That's what this video is about. First, we need to understand what motivation actually is and why it keeps failing you. Motivation is just a feeling. It's not a skill, it's not a system, it's not something stable. It's a temporary emotional state. You feel motivated when something is new, something is exciting, or when you have high energy. But the problem is, your energy changes, your mood changes, your environment changes. So naturally, your motivation changes too. Let me give you a simple example. Think about the last time you decided to fix your life. You made a plan. Maybe you said, I'm going to wake up early, work out, eat clean, stay focused. And for a few days, it worked. You felt great. But then one morning, you woke up tired. You hit snooze, you skipped one day, and somehow, one day turned into a week? That's not because you're lazy. It's because you built your system on something unstable. Now here's where most people get stuck. They keep waiting to feel ready. They think, I'll start when I feel motivated. But the reality is the opposite. You don't act because you feel motivated. You feel motivated because you started acting. Let me show you how this works. Imagine this. You don't feel like going to the gym at all. Zero energy, zero desire, but you tell yourself, fine, I'll just go for 5 minutes. You show up, you start moving, and suddenly, it's not that bad. After 10 minutes, you're fully into it. That's how motivation actually works. It shows up after action, not before. But if you sit there waiting for the perfect feeling, you'll stay stuck. So what's the solution? The solution is to stop relying on how you feel and start building systems. A system is something that runs whether you feel like it or not. It removes the need to decide. It removes the need to get inspired. It just runs. Let me give you a clear comparison. Someone who relies on motivation says, I'll work when I feel focused. Someone who relies on systems says, I work at 9 a.m. every day. No debate, no emotion, no negotiation, just execution. And over time, the second person wins every time. How to build a life that runs without motivation. Now let's get practical. There are 5 key principles you need to build this kind of life. First, build identity, not just habits. First, you need to shift how you see yourself. Most people focus on actions, but long-term change comes from identity. Instead of saying, I'm trying to be productive, say, I'm the kind of person who finishes what they start. Instead of, I want to work out, say, I don't skip workouts. Here's a real-life example. There are 2 people offered a cigarette. One says, I'm trying to quit. The other says, I don't smoke. The second person isn't relying on willpower. They're just acting in alignment with who they are. That's the level you want to reach. Second, design your environment. Next, understand this. Your environment is stronger than your discipline. Instead of saying, I'm trying to be productive. Say, I'm the kind of person who finishes what they start. Instead of, I want to work out. Say, I don't skip workouts. So instead of fighting yourself, change the environment. For example, put your phone in another room when working. Keep a book on your desk. Instead of scrolling apps, prepare your workout clothes the night before. One small change I've seen work really well. A friend of mine wanted to start running in the morning. He kept failing until he did one simple thing. He put his running shoes right next to his bed. So when he woke up, it was the first thing he saw. No thinking, no resistance. Just put them on and go. That's how you remove friction. Third, make everything extremely small now. This is where most people get it wrong. They try to do too much. They go from 0 to extreme. And that's why they burn out. Instead, make everything so small. It feels almost too easy. If you want to start reading, don't aim for 30 pages. Start with 2. If you want to start working out, don't aim for 1 hour. Start with 5 minutes. Let me give you a real example. There was someone who wanted to build a writing habit, but he kept procrastinating. So he made one rule. Write 1 sentence per day. Just 1. Some days he stopped at 1 sentence, but most days he kept going. And within a few months, he had built a consistent writing habit. Not because of motivation, but because it was too easy to avoid. Fourth, remove daily decisions. Next, eliminate unnecessary decisions. Every time you ask yourself, should I do this today? You're giving yourself a chance to say no. Instead, decide once and automate it. For example, Monday, Wednesday, Friday equals gym. 8 a.m. equals start work. 10 p.m. equals go to bed. No discussion, no overthinking. Just follow the rule. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't ask, do I feel like brushing my teeth today? You just do it. That's what you want your important habits to feel like. Fifth, build simple routines. Finally, turn your actions into routines. A routine is a sequence. One action leads to the next. For example, wake up, drink water, stretch, sit down to work. Or finish dinner, walk for 10 minutes, shower, read, sleep. When actions are connected like this, you don't need motivation. You just follow the sequence. It becomes automatic, like driving a familiar route. At some point, you don't even think about it anymore. Now here's the most important part of everything we talked about. You have to stop depending on how you feel. You won't always feel motivated, confident, ready, and that's normal. The difference is, disciplined people don't wait for the right feeling. They act first. Let me give you a simple mindset shift. Instead of asking, do I feel like doing this? Ask, is this something I said I would do? If the answer is yes, then you do it, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's boring, even if you're not in the mood. Because consistency is not built on feelings. It's built on actions repeated over time. Before we finish, let's quickly go through a few common mistakes. First, trying to build a perfect system. You don't need perfect. You need something simple enough to repeat. Second, changing everything at once. Start with one habit, just one. Build it. Stabilize it. Then add more. Third, expecting fast results. Systems work slowly at first, but once they're in place, they create momentum that lasts. So at the end of the day, You don't need more motivation. You need fewer decisions, better systems, and simpler actions. Start small. Make it easy. Repeat it daily. And over time, you'll build a life that keeps moving forward, even on the days when you don't feel like doing anything. And that's the real goal. Not to feel motivated, but to become consistent without needing it.